Good morning and welcome everyone to the Ultimate Trading Webinar for Beginners. My name is Danny and I will give you the webinar today. Okay, so we're going to begin with the introduction as we said to AvaTrade. All right, so as many of you know, we are a regulated company. We're 2 decades in the market since 2006. We have 9 licenses worldwide. In case you got any questions or queries along the way, you can easily access the customer service right here at the bottom left. You can either chat with us or via the WhatsApp, whatever communication you prefer. And if you're using a different interface, obviously you're not going to see the button here at the bottom left. So you can directly contact us at cs@avatrade.com for all customer service queries. Regarding any kind of trading questions, we can also assign a senior account manager that will give you full support through the process with strategy, with risk money management, with all kind of calculations, analysis, everything you can imagine under the trading umbrella. A senior account manager is the person to ask, and this service, even though it's very useful, doesn't cost anything as an addition. So I recommend to check your eligibility via the customer service, unless you've already assigned with one. Now, we're going to carry on, as I said, with the web trader. We're going to jot it down. And I also want to say that what we're looking at is the desktop version. This is the computer version through the browser, but we also have it in the app, and it's called the AvaTrade's Trading app. It does look a bit different since we're using a computer, and on the phone it's an app, but you do get to enjoy the features that I'm going to show you here today, and the menus displayed to the left. Now, on top of that, we have the traditional platforms, MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5, and we also have the we're going to write it properly, just a second. Okay, we also have Ava Futures, which was recently added, and Ava Options. And on top of that, we've got, lastly, we've got the Ava Social. Okay, Ava Social, what it does, we're going to say a few words about that. So Ava Social, and what it does is it allows you to do copy trading. So as an example, as a beginner, I'm not always sure about what strategy I'm going to use, or even what I'm going to trade, or how I'm going to trade. So sometimes what I want to do is just to copy another trader. Okay, we can copy another trader. So let's suppose that we're trader A, and we can copy trader B as an example. And as you can see, our account at the moment, okay, this is a demo account with $10,000. Now, let's suppose that, again, we are beginners, we're not sure exactly what to do, and we want to copy another trader. Okay, so let's suppose the trader B is trading currencies, and he's trading Aussie Canadian dollar. What will happen in this case? My account will trade the same way the trader B is trading. Okay, my account will be linked to his account, and whatever positions he'll take, I'll take as well. The biggest advantage using Ava Social is that we can still copy the strategy, but we can choose in what lot size. So even if trader B is taking 0.1 as an example, or let's exaggerate, let's make it 1 lot, and I'm with okay, so I can choose to copy the strategy with a lower lot size. How is this useful? This is useful because the demo here has $10,000. Okay, but I'm not always going to have $10,000, right? Sometimes I can have 100, I can have 1,000, I can have 5,000. And maybe trader B has a balance of 50,000, but he has a good strategy. So customizing the lot size means that I need lower margin. And if I need lower margin, I can contemplate and still enjoy the strategy with a lower so-called cost. Okay, we're going to carry on with ease. Of course, guys, if you've got any questions about anything that I said so far, including Ava Social, you're welcome to stop me and ask. Feel free to use the question section freely. Okay, now beside Ava Social, we're going to carry on with the web trader as I said, which is embedded in the website, and we don't need to install or download. Okay, and we're going to look at the menus to the left. By the way that I'm extending or minimizing the chart is very easily by clicking on the arrows at the upper right. This way I can extend the chart and minimize the chart as I want. We're going to begin at the upper left. In here, this 3 lines gets me to my personal area. In there, I can modify my details. I can open a sub account, make a deposit, make a withdraw right here on the 3 lines. Underneath is trade is where we are at right now. And each shortcut to get to here is just to click on the icon from anywhere on the website, which I'm going to show you soon. In here is positions, in here is orders for any pending orders, in here is history. We can also define the range of what we want to be displayed by clicking on the tiny calendar and then choosing what range we want to see. Underneath, we've got signals. There is a question here, is Ava Social free? If not, how much does it cost? The app is free to download. I'm just writing you back the answer, and I'm going to also repeat your question for the rest of the audience in just a moment. Thank you, Mr. Rix. The app is free to download. Copy trading has an inside app cost depending on the trader you are copying. Okay, now in other words, what that means is that you need to download the app, choose which one you want to copy, and by doing that you will have the specific cost, because there is no generic cost that I can give you now, and also I don't know which trader you want to copy. This is why the app is free to download, and you can test it by yourself. The question was, is Ava Social free? And if not, how much does it cost? We have another question here. Please explain about Ava Protect. I really hope that I'll have the time to do that, but we'll try. Okay. And another question from Asim. I have MetaTrader 5. How can I'm not sure I understand that word. Ava Trader 6. Once I have, unfortunately, Asim, you'll have to rephrase your question because I don't understand your question. Okay, so this is the signal section. As you can see, it's super simple to get to here. We just clicked on the icon. From here, basically, we can use the signals. The way that it's constructed is very simple. To the left, we've got the symbol, the name of the instrument. To the right, we've got the buy or sell type. Briefly and easily, we can understand that whenever we're buying something, we always want the value to increase, and when we are selling, we want the value to decrease. With that in mind, we're not always on the chart to close the positions by ourselves, right? So we can have something called pending orders to allow us to open or close the position automatically for us. So we have market execution, okay, buy or sell now, and we have, don't worry guys, I'm going back to reality in just a moment, but it's important for me to convey this just the basic concept, otherwise we won't understand what the signal does. Okay, and we've got pending orders. In this case, we've got 3 pending orders. Execute when price hits. We've got take profit and stop loss. The way that it works is very simple. Opening the position when reaching the price, closing the position when reaching the price with a profit, and stop loss does Similar thing with a loss. In other words, what this allows me to do is to design a certain price that when the instrument get to that price, my position will either be closed or opened automatically. The reason that I bothered to jot that down is so we will understand the signal. So let's dive into it. There is another question from Sunday. Please show again how to copy. Not now, guys. I apologize. Not now. We don't have time for that at the moment. Another question from Wawane. Are you able to discuss additional platform MT5? Not now. Not now, guys. The point here now is to first to pass that segment, get onto the practical part, so the rest of the audience can enjoy something practical to use. Okay, but all of those questions regarding analysis and calculations, we'll get to that in very soon. Okay, so we've established this bit right here. We're gonna click here to go back. Then we're gonna click on View Signal, and as you can see, what I wrote here, we've got the stop loss and the take profit already made for us. So basically, by using a signal, clicking here on View Signal, we see that those levels are set for us automatically, right? There is analysis here. There is this buy scenario and sell scenario, and there is support and resistance. And right here, there is the take profit and stop loss. So for me to use the signal, all I gotta do is just choose the scenario. Let's go this time with a buy. Now what happens is I've already got the stop loss and take profit prepared for me. And all I gotta do now, if I want, is of course to launch the position, which is pretty great. And now we're gonna look at the levels that this position has. And since we took a buy, we want the value to increase. The higher it gets, the more money we are going to make. And what I'm doing for you now, guys, is I am trying to draw here a picture of the levels that we're expecting. So this is where our take profit is, and this is where our stop loss is, the red line. If it gets to the green line, we're gonna make $40. If it gets to the red line, we're gonna lose $50. At this point, of course, I can always increase the lot size if I want to, and I can further modify whatever I want regarding the signals. But if I don't want to, and I just want to use the signal plain and simple, again, let me show you how easy that is. We're going to click now on crude oil since it's in a sell type. Click again. That took less than 10 seconds, and we are set to go. Okay, we're set to go. Even though I choose the sell scenario, I'm not obligated to take the sell scenario. I could also go with the buy. So if I'll click on View Signal again, this time go with the buy again, we are good to go. That doesn't take any effort, as you saw. I would recommend you, obviously, to use the signals as additional layer and to get proper education, and not to depend on the signals purely, as the market is volatile and things are liquid all the time. It's also important to understand that the way that this signal section is constructed is by linear time frame. So we've got the newest signal at the top and the oldest signal at the bottom. Why would I care if a signal was analyzed 5 minutes ago or 5 hours ago? Okay, what do you think, guys? Will there be a difference of a signal that was analyzed, that the analysis, as you can see, by the way, it's not done by AvaTrade, it's done by the Trading Central. So what do you think? Will there be a difference if a signal was analyzed now or analyzed a few hours ago? What do you think? Of course there will be. Thank you, Bobby. Okay, so just like Bobby replied, there will be a difference, and the reason is because the market is moving. The market is not stopping. So if the signal will analyze just now, I can assume that the analysis is still viable. But if it was too long ago, sometimes if we click on pound USD as an example, the market has already reached those levels. So if we'll see a signal with blank stop loss and take profit, we know that those levels of the analysis that was done here was already fulfilled. And we see this nice, well, it's not such a nice message, but we see this message, the market has already reached a key level. All right. Exactly. All right. Thank you. So, of course, similarly, if there are any questions about the signal section, feel free, guys, to fire away because I want to carry on and get to the practical part. If there are any questions, you guys are welcome to ask. Okay. Of course, there are different categories in here, and you can explore a little bit more. Okay. Now, in here at the bottom we've got the news. So what we spoke about now, okay, was technical analysis. What we have here is technical analysis. Okay, we've got support and resistance, we've got levels on the chart, we've got the numbers here, pivot points. Okay, but technical analysis is only half of the necessary analysis we need to do. How so? Because analysis is divided to two parts. We've got technical analysis, which is what we just saw. So technical analysis will be, for instance, support and resistance, will be statistics, okay, will be averages, will be all kind of technical things, and this will be how things are moving. Okay, but fundamental analysis will be the news, will be the articles, will be the any kind of governmental decisions, right? Okay. And now, and this will be obviously the why things are moving. Okay. Now, when we saw the signals and we see the analysis, we still don't understand what's happening behind the scenes. What is making the pound move like that, right? Maybe there is some news versus the dollar. So this could mean either news for the dollar or news for the pound. Okay, so what we can do is we can click here on the news section. Like I said Sunday, unfortunately, recording of this webinar will not be sent. We're not sending the recording of this webinar, but you can easily access the recording via our YouTube channel. In our YouTube channel, there is all kind of content. Okay, so as you can see in the news section, we've got news, and through those news, we can better understand why the market is moving the way that it's moving. And in here at the bottom, we even have 4 related instruments to help us understand what this article is related to. Great. In here also, it's provided by the Trading Central, and in here also, we've got different categories of what we want to specify. Now, in here, if we scroll, go down a little further, we've got Discovery, this globy icon here, okay? We've got analysis views, market buzz, forex features, ideas, economic calendar, and trading calculator. We're gonna stop on market buzz to see how it's constructed. Okay, you can, this is also from the Trading Central. In here, you can even search for a particular instrument, and we can see that it's, we've got the SOFI technologies, and we've got NVIDIA, and we've got United Health, and all kind of things in here. We can maybe go with SOFI technology and see what news they have. And we see that this articles here, they are quite various. What if we want to specify and read only on the earning announcements? So we can click in here and go through the specific articles for earning announcements. Okay, now we have other parameters in here. We can go back, select something else. This is also divided to categories. Okay, great. Underneath, as you can see, we also have the economic calendar. The economic calendar is for more formal decisions. Now it's filtered with certain things. We can click on reset, go back to default. And in here, we can click on the 30 and we can maybe click 1 week forward. And now with this blue trail following the numbers, we know what dates are selected. Okay, we also notice that this font is a little gray, and if we scroll down, we see that the list just continues because there are all kind of things in here, right? All kind of flags. We've got Netherlands and Australia and Switzerland and okay. But what if we don't want to see all of that? We can click on the arrow here. We can click on the flag from the list of what we want to see. Maybe we'll focus on China, maybe we'll focus in US, and then we only get to see news about China and US. Okay, and as you can see, this is still not filtered. Okay, we've got few parameters in here, how strong we think that the event will impact the market, the actual, which is the result, the forecast is the range of what we're expecting the result to be in, and the previous, which provides the previous results. If I click on, let's go for 29th and then select next week, we see that this bit here is a little grayer than the white font at the bottom, and we've got this red line. This is to show us that from here up, those events already took place. This was yesterday. And we see that it has the actual, it has the result. Those events didn't happen yet, and this is why they don't have the result. Okay, what if I don't want to see the low and the medium events? I want to focus only on the high impacts events. How can I do that? I'm gonna click here on the high, and then I only get the high impacts event only for US, only for China. Okay, on top of that, we've got the prior events. This is also something that you guys can easily explore. It's very, very intuitive. We've got here, as we saw, the way that it's written. Okay, and one more thing I would like to say about the economic calendar. This is something that helps me personally. We're not always by the computer analyzing, watching the news. So this what allows us to book the calendar, the event, into our calendar. This way I can put it into my calendar and get a notification before the event takes place, go to the computer, do the analysis, go to the market, do what I want. Okay, so I find it very, very time useful, and I recommend you guys to try. Okay, I think we covered everything that we should have had in the first part. So just on a nutshell, I will explain about Ava Protect as the audience requested. But first, I want to find something for us to analyze. Okay, just a moment, guys. Okay, guys, if there is any specific instrument that you would like me to analyze today, you are free to suggest. I'm going to give it maybe 5 to 10 seconds and maybe choose one of the audience recommendation. Otherwise, I'm just going to go through the lists here and choose from the lists what I find interesting. Okay, so let's once we selected the instrument, also something that I wanted to show you guys, I selected wheat through the lists, but we've we've done that last week. We've done, I think Nasdaq was last week, but I think wheat looks pretty educational, so I think we're gonna stick with that. Okay, there are lots and lots of requests for Bitcoin, and Okay, Bitcoin. A lot of requests for Bitcoin. Okay, maybe if we'll begin with that, and if we'll have spare time, maybe we'll look at Bitcoin as well. I've never seen so many requests. Okay, so the way that we can open an instrument is very simple. So we can click. Let's suppose that we're here by default, and we would like to select wheat, but not from the lists. What we can do is we can click here on the AUD CAD, delete what we have here, and simply type wheat. And now we've got wheat. We can click, and it's right here. Notice that since I've clicked buy or sell with AUD CAD, the end order entry is still displaying AUD CAD. In order for me to display the correct instrument, I need to again click buy or sell. So let's go with buy. Actually, let's go with sell. I mean, you guys can see what's happening here. And what will also reset the lot size just like that. And we can always increase to what we want. At this point, I will also want to erase all of what we wrote here and type wheat instead. Okay. And now with wheat in mind, we can see that the general idea here is bearish. Before we do the analysis, I also want to mention that there is a question here. Unfortunately, Asim, you won't be able to see the questions from the audience because there's so many. Only if I will reply, I believe that you will see the reply. And what you asked about Ava Protect is something that I can explain once we've covered the basics. I can't explain about a feature that helps trading without the audience understand how to trade. We need to first get there. Okay, but a little patience, guys, a little patience. We're gonna, the action is gonna begin in a few minutes. But first we gotta make the necessary preparations. Okay, now in here we've got the wheat. We're gonna go to the right. In here we've got the time frames. This basically allows me to change the time frame that the candles are displaying. So if we click in here and now we click in here, 1M, that means that each candle here is 1 minute. Okay, how can I validate this? If I keep going to the right and skip this icon here, we've got the arrow. We can click again on crosshair. And now with the crosshair, we can see right here that it changes every minute. It changes every minute. Okay, so each candle here represents 1 minute. If we click in here, scroll down, click in here on 1D, so we can change to days. Now each candle is a day. So this is today, this is yesterday, this is 2 days ago, this is the weekend. That's why it looks like that. I also scroll up and down to customize the chart and get the proper picture of what I want to analyze. On top of that, we can, maybe we'll look at weeks. I think weeks might be more interesting. Okay, well, we'll carry on. Just a second, we'll place the line here. Okay, but that doesn't look right. I promise that I will explain everything that I'm doing here. Everything, no, that doesn't seem right. Okay. And I'm also able to move the chart up and down after I clicked and dragged on the column price. This way it goes up and down, okay, and I can get the specific picture I want to analyze. Now, just a second. Okay, that looks better. That looks better. That's not what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Okay, and then what we will do, the same way we had the signals to support and resistance, we're also going to capture in here some levels that will help us assess what's happening with wheat. Because as we can see, the price that we are at right now, 528, is very close. Now we can get rid of that to the support. So we've got two edges that we can focus on. One of them is the support, one of them is the resistance, similarly to what we saw with the signals, right? And this way we can assess approximately at what segment wheat can turn around. And with that in mind, we can even choose an entry. So all of those levels are support and resistance. We're going to click an oval, click in here, drag up, drag right, left, sorry. Same in here, click, click, drag. And here, click, click, and drag. And here also. And those are the reasons for me to draw those lines where I've drawn those lines, right? Okay. Now, if I focus on that area here, this will be the area, the focus of our area. We're going to get rid of all those shenanigans in a moment. And we see that 528 where we are is getting closer to, maybe we'll increase it a little bit. There we are, to 507. 507 is the next station that I see for wheat, right? Now, if I think that the trend is bearish, that means going down, it means that I intend to sell. Okay, now I can either sell now or I can sell later. But since we see that we're heading to the support, let's paint it in green, then it means that I might to take advantage of the trend. So we can trade with the trend or against the trend. Okay, and at the moment, it does seem like a sell. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna target, we'll paint it in red. I am gonna target the green line to be my take profit, and I'm gonna target the red line to be my stop loss. Okay, and then we'll we'll make the necessary adjustments. This way we can we can begin from somewhere and make the necessary adjustment. So we enable all three of them, execute when price hits, take profit and stop loss. Let's also read what they do. So in here it's written, execute when price hits. Okay, it opens the position automatically reaching the price. So let's suppose that I don't want to sell now. I want to sell at 527. It gets down another $1. And the take profit 507 and the stop loss 576. Okay, great. Now we see, and we are with one unit. Now, we see that since we're also going to write those levels here, so entry will be a 527, okay. Current is 5. It will, obviously, it will keep changing, but still, so we will have some indication where we are. Take profit is, we said 507, and then stop loss, we said that's 576. Okay, great. So this is how far away. This is $20 away. And this is approximately $40 away, right? Okay, I'll make it 7, and then we are $20 away, $40 away exactly, right? $50 away. Let's do. Okay, we are $50 away. Great. And now if we look to the right, we can see that if it gets to the green line, we're going to make $46. If it, sorry, $22. And if it gets to the red line, we're going to make almost 50. Okay, so we're going to get rid of some things here since they're no longer necessary. maybe we'll keep this one just for the sake of the discussion. In here, we'll have the profit area, sorry, the loss area. We'll have it in red. We'll also have the profit area in here, and we'll make it green. Okay, great. Now, obviously, those numbers are not something I want to carry on with. Okay, I want to modify those numbers. But before I do that, I first want to set myself a target. Okay, because I have $10,000 in my account. I think planning to make $22 is not something I would aim for. I would be happy to make a much bigger amount, let's say like 500. Okay, the next thing I would like to do is also to think about the time that I'm planning to hold this position. The reason for that is because if I make 500 in a day, that's great, right? If I make it in a week, still great, right? If I make it in a month, not so great, right? What, in a year? Okay, ridiculous. Ridiculous. So if I need to hold this position for too long, it's not worth for me because I can trade something else. The money here on my account is something I want to use and make profits. So I think I'm going to keep it as a week. Okay, to hold this position up to a week seems reasonable. And followed by that, I also want to know how far away I am from my targets. Because if, for instance, this would be my target, and we can see that this is very far away, okay, so it might take it too long to get to. So the movements is something I would like to validate. And we'll take both of the levels that we've jotted down and see how far away they are from the entry. Okay, so the take profit we said is 507 and 577 is for a stop loss. Okay, how can we validate if those levels are reasonable or not? What we can do is we can either look at the previous candles and see what happened last week. But the issue with that is we can see that each candle is different. This candle is different than this. This is different than that. This is much bigger than that. And this is much bigger than the previous. So to analyze each candle is going to take me a lot of time that I'm trying to save as much time as I can since we're all busy. Now, what I'm going to do is click on indicators, click in here on type to filter, type AVE for average, click and drag it to the right. Now I can select how many candles I want to withdraw the average from. And this indicator automatically will give me the average movement per, what are we looking at? Weeks. Will give me the average movement per week. If we were on days, this would have been the average movement 4 days. So this 14 will be 14 weeks. Okay, let's maybe go for 10 weeks instead and click here, save. Now we see that the average movement for wheat per week is $27. So the average or the ATR equals $27 per week. Okay. And how far away are we? We are, let's open up the numbers. In here, we are in the range. So $20 is in the range. This is where we place our take profit. Okay, so actual expected movement equals 20. 20 is in our range. 20 is in our range. But the $40 is too far away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 577 and I'm going to drag it onto the same length that we have from the take profit. This means if we intend to sell at 527, 547 will be the same ratio. Okay, so 547 is right around here. We'll also make the loss area to match. Okay, drag it down. This one we're going to flatten that to be where we want it to be. then drag this back up. Of course, the analysis I'm doing here is to the favor to show you since this is a webinar, all the colors and the things are not, you don't have to do it the same way that I do. Okay, and now it looks right. Now it looks right. We can almost gain and lose the same amount. We can see this is 527, then we've got 507 and 527. Okay, in this case, this is because we've got 1 unit. What if we want to make 500? So my following question will be, how many units we need to sell to make 500 with $20 difference per unit? Okay, people who are good with math can give me an answer to this question. Otherwise, I'm going to give you the equation. The equation is target divided by movement equals units. So 500 divided by 20, who can tell me what is the answer to this? We have a calculator. Okay, so I'll break it down for you guys. If we have 1 unit and $20 away, we can make $20. If I increase this 1 to, let's say, 10, okay, then just a second, then it multiplies by 10, right? It multiplies by 10. So if we divide, correct, everyone who wrote 25, let's do it together. Okay, everyone who wrote 25 is correct. Everyone who wrote 25 is correct. And now we're going to put it also to the test. Okay, so we'll erase what's here, put 25, and we are great. We are great. Okay, 500 and 500. Okay, now we're also going to write it in our sheets. So we will be organized. 547. Now $20 away. This is also $20 away. Okay, no longer relevant. We're going to instead put the take profit in the stop, the possible profit. Possible profit equals 500. Okay, possible loss equals 500. Yeah. Of course, we're going to adjust this ratio. We don't have to stay like that as I wrote down. But before we will recap, are there any questions about the process or the way the things were done? If there are any questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to ask. Guys, now is the time. What made you? Okay, so we've got a question from George. What made me want to take a sell? George is asking, what made you take a sell? Okay, let's together look at the. Let's go back to days. Just a second. Let's go back to days. Okay, and now tell me what you see. You see this trend line, Mr. George? You see here? This is something basic that we did in the beginning. We also shifted to weeks. This way, we could know approximately where we are heading. So we see that we are still quite bearish. Okay, George? We could as well take a buy, maybe wait for reversal, but that's the main reason. Okay, another question from Arif. Okay, Arif is asking why the ATR is changed. Why it's changed? Because we have changed 2 days. We have changed 2 days, so the average displayed in here is now daily, and we saw weeks. So the average per day is 7.43. The average for weeks is 27. Okay, Arif, I hope that it makes sense. Of course, of course. Without these questions, I don't know what to explain. Of course, thank you for the question. Yeah. Another question from Wawane. The leverage 1 to 10. Do we get charged for the leverage? No, 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 no. The answer is no. But thank you so much for reminding me about. Thank you. Okay, about the leverage, because I want to speak about it and understand a bit better how it works. Okay, now since we've got a ratio of 1 to 1, this is something we want maybe to fix, because sometimes we want to trade multiple positions and same ratio means same potential profit or loss. Okay, what if, how can I adjust my exposure from 5% to, let's say, 2.5%. Okay, who can tell me? I'm just going to show you here a quick calculation why we're looking at 5%. We can go possible loss divided by balance times 100 equals exposure. I am aware that this is a bit complicated, but we're going to do it now. We're going to do it together now. So this is a calculator and our possible loss is 500. So we're going to write 500 divided by the balance. What is the balance? 10,000. Great. Okay, equals what? Equals factor times 100. Sorry, just a moment, guys. All right, so this equals factor times 100. So this equals, this is our factor times 100. And if we do this, sorry, if we do this times 100, it gives us 5%. Okay. All right. I hope that this this makes sense. Again, if there are any questions, I've never seen. Okay, there is a first time for everything. There is a first time for everything. I'm happy that that it helps. Okay, so we are at 5%. So how do we make it 2.5%? Who knows? Anybody has any idea? How do we make it 2.5? No, smaller position, Arif, good, nice try. But if we make the position smaller, we're also going to make less money. We're also going to make less money. So the point here is to maintain the profit, but still lower the exposure. Correct, correct. Very, very good, Thomas. We can reduce the stop loss. Correct, correct. Also Asim, yes, very good. Good job. So how can we do it? The only thing we need to do is just to make the stop loss closer onto the entry. So instead of $20 away, it will only be 10. So 537. And when the market will stable, at the moment is unstable, so it's showing us that, but it will turn into 250 very, very soon. Okay, well, oh, sorry. Let's gonna keep it like this, and this one like that, and the stop loss, just like you guys suggested, will be closer, which makes the exposure smaller and give us a ratio of 1 to half. Great, 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 great. The only thing left us to do, guys, is to validate if we have the budget to open this position. Otherwise, all of what we did now doesn't mean anything. Okay, so how can we validate this? Very, very easily. There is something called price per unit. And for wheat is 528. And there is number of units. equals 25, we can all see. And if we go, I think we need to somehow separate this so we won't be confused. Yeah. Okay. And if we go price per unit times number of units, we get the value. No need to stress. The value is already written for us right here. And we've got the leverage. There was a question if the leverage is, what was the question about the leverage? Just a second. I need to find it. Just hold on. Okay, the question here is the leverage. Do we get charged for the leverage? Okay, so the leverage, as you can see, is 1 to 10. And what it does is it multiplies buying and selling. That's all that the margin does, the leverage does. It doesn't multiply our balance. It doesn't cause us to lose more or cause us to gain more. Of course, as a result of me being able to take a bigger position, I can lose or gain more. But the leverage by itself is not causing it. Okay? That means that if I have, for instance, I have $10,000 and I have this position. Okay, we'll get to it. We'll get to it in a moment. We'll get to it. So 1 to 10. And if we go and divide the value by the leverage, then we get margin impact. And the margin impact equals necessary amount to open a position. Okay, so very, very simple. That number right here is what we want. Okay, the value is the value of the position. The margin impact, we used to call it margin requirement. Okay, for people who've been trading for a while, this used to be called the margin requirement. Okay, this is what we need to fulfill to being able to open the position. Okay, now I'm going to ask you guys a question about the margin. Why do we always need to maintain a healthy level of margin? Who knows what happens when we don't have enough margin? Maybe this question is for people who has a bit more experience and traded a few times. Why do we need to always maintain a healthy level of margin? Who knows the answer to that question? Anyone would like to try? Correct. Maxine, because if we don't have enough margin, the platform will close the position. Okay, once we get below the margin level requirement of the account and we cannot fulfill the margin requirement, the positions will be closed. Correct, exactly. Like Asim also said, you guys are completely right. Another reason for me to want to ensure that I have enough margin is to also be able to diversify. It's to be able to diversify. For instance, if I will increase this to one lot, I can still handle it. If this would have been 175, I can still handle it. 2 is too much. So let's suppose if I'll take this position, just look how much more profits I can make. But the same way, okay, but the same way, if I increase it so much, I can also lose a bigger amount. And this position now will require me to use 92% of my account. Okay, this will require me to use 92%, which is not always a good idea. What I want to do is to use a partial amount and to leave myself room to maneuver. If I want to take another position with anything you imagine, with Nasdaq or with Dow Jones or anything else, I want my margin to be properly managed. Okay, guys, unfortunately, we're out of time for today. I apologize for not being able to explain about the overprotect and the rest of the questions, but you're all welcome to join us to tomorrow's live Q&A, and you're welcome to ask the question there. And I promise you that tomorrow I'll have much more time to answer your questions. I hope that today's session was practical enough to help you guys move on with the strategy. Until then, I wish you all best of luck with trading